Have you ever stood at the crossroads of a dozen different passions, each one calling to you with equal intensity? You're not struggling to stick with things. In fact, you dive in with enthusiasm. The challenge is different. You feel pulled in too many directions at once. Every path seems authentic. Every interest feels like a true part of who you are. And instead of moving forward with confidence, you freeze. Not from fear of effort, but from the weight of possibility. This isn't a flaw, it's a pattern many brilliant minds share. You might have heard labels like jack of all trades or dilettante, terms meant to suggest you lack focus. But what if that boundless curiosity isn't a liability? What if it's actually your greatest strategic advantage in today's world? For generations, career advice followed a simple formula. Pick one lane and go deep. Become the expert. Master a single domain. This worked beautifully in stable environments, places where rules stayed fixed and repetition led to mastery. Think of a chess player learning openings, or a golfer refining their swing. Clear feedback, predictable patterns. This is what researchers call a kind learning environment. But our world has shifted. Today's challenges are messy, interconnected, and constantly evolving. Rules change overnight. Patterns hide beneath surface chaos. This is a wicked environment, more like navigating a wildfire than playing a round of golf. In these conditions, deep specialization can create blind spots. Meanwhile, the ability to draw connections across fields becomes increasingly rare and valuable. So, how do you build a meaningful path when you're wired to explore rather than specialize? Start by shifting your mental model. Stop thinking in job titles. Start thinking in architectures of knowledge. The classic specialist follows an I-shaped path, one vertical column of deep expertise. At the other extreme lies the horizontal dash, wide exposure with little depth. This feels exciting at first, but without foundations, it leads to instability and self-doubt. Between these lies a more resilient shape, the M, multiple pillars of genuine competence, connected by a web of interdisciplinary insight. Imagine a one pillar built in analytical thinking, perhaps through work with data or systems. Another pillar formed through creative expression, writing, visual design, or narrative craft. Between them runs a connective tissue of psychology, history, or philosophy. Alone, each pillar has value. Together, they create something uncommon, the ability to translate complexity into clarity, to see structure where others see noise. This isn't about collecting hobbies, it's about cultivating what cognitive scientists call far transfer, the ability to recognize deep patterns in one domain and apply them unexpectedly elsewhere. A botanist studying root networks might redesign an organization's communication flow. A composer hearing harmonic tension might restructure a team's workflow for better rhythm and resolution. These leaps happen because polymaths carry a rich internal library of metaphors, and they know how to cross-reference between shelves. Building this kind of life requires intentional design. First, embrace serial depth. You cannot develop multiple pillars simultaneously without ending up shallow everywhere. Instead, choose one area and commit to it for a defined season, perhaps a year or 18 months. This isn't a lifelong vow, it's a focused expedition. Your goal isn't perfection, it's functional fluency, the point where you can navigate 80% of challenges without constant guidance. When that season feels complete, not because you're bored or frustrated, but because you've absorbed its core principles, you make a conscious pivot. This isn't quitting, it's graduating. You carry forward what you've learned while turning your attention to the next pillar. Second, design your environment for cognitive surplus. If your mind thrives on exploration, consider whether your daily work drains or fuels that capacity. Many historically creative thinkers held roles that provided stability without consuming their entire mental bandwidth. This wasn't settling, it was strategy. A role that meets practical needs while preserving energy for deeper exploration becomes a platform, not a prison. Third, build an external mind. Curious brains generate ideas faster than working memory can hold them. Without a system to capture fleeting insights, you'll feel overwhelmed, or worse, dismiss valuable connections because you can't hold them all at once. Create a simple repository, a digital notebook, a collection of notes, a personal knowledge base. When fascination strikes, medieval stonework, bird migration patterns, jazz improvisation, document the spark, then release it without guilt. Months or years later, that fragment may fuse unexpectedly with a current challenge, revealing a solution no specialist would have seen. This path isn't always linear. It requires patience, but understanding your cognitive wiring changes everything. The anxiety of choosing wrong softens when you realize you're not selecting a single identity. You're assembling a unique configuration of strengths. You're not failing to specialize. You're training to become a bridge, someone who moves between domains, translating insight from one world into breakthroughs in another. Your curiosity isn't distraction, it's preparation. The world doesn't just need deeper experts, it needs people who can see how the pieces fit together. And that ability begins with not narrowing your focus, but with honoring the full range of what draws your attention. Then building intentional depth where it matters most.